All right, guys. So I gotta blame my cameraman for this one, guys. Not so good news again. He has informed me once again that you're not subscribed to the channel. So if you want me to keep putting out some banging content, you should probably subscribe to the channel. And we'll leave it at that for now. That being said, we're gonna do a Q&A. It's been a while since I've done a Q&A. So we're gonna do a Q&A. I was 18 in this video. Yeah, this was my second show. Oh, yeah. I did, yeah. At a very young age, I had that confident mindset built in me. Because when I was younger, I played a lot of sports. I played football, I played baseball, I played soccer. Those were my three main sports, and I was extremely good at all three. And coming from just a straight up competitive background, like always wanted to be the best at everything I did. And knowing I was probably one of the best at that time of all the sports that I played, the confidence was always there. I knew I could be the best at anything I did, so that just carried on through the years. So a little background, my brother never competed, but my brother is big into lifting. He loved to lift. My dad also was a big lifter. He competed a little bit in his heyday. So already I was kind of just, I think, prone to working out at a young age already. But with certain things that I went through at a younger age that led me to stop playing sports, so to speak, and really just work out. And I graduated high school probably at like 230 pounds, relatively bigger than most people. And right out of high school was where I did my first show. Prep was a complete disaster for that show. Every error you could make was made. But I kind of enjoyed the process. And I did like the whole suffering aspect of it all. I liked the structure of it all. And even though it went completely wrong and I didn't do that well, I knew I had at that time to be the potential to be something great. So I got a coach for my second prep, and I ended up winning just about every show I went into that year. And then I fell in love with it, and it escalated to what it is now. Oh, so I'm not like a Matt Jansen sneakerhead where I have, a whole room dedicated to shoes here. But I do love my shoes. I couldn't obviously bring all my pairs here to Florida from, living in Vegas, but I would say I have a pretty large shoe collection. I wear mostly Jordan 3s. I think those are the most comfortable because I'm sure a lot of people know I have very fat feet. So I can't wear narrow shoes. So like Jordan 1s, they fit okay, but they get a little uncomfortable after a while. But I have a good amount of pair of those. I love, obviously, like I said, I love Jordan 3s. They're my favorite. I love the look of a Jordan 4, but they do hurt my feet the most. And I love Jordan 5s. I do find those to be pretty comfortable as well for me, but I also like the lower shoe, so I aim toward more the Jordan 3s at that point. I like to wear New Balances. I like to wear Asics. I even go as far as saying I wear UGG slippers all the time. So mentally, I think my points I want to do is I think I want to get back to the old me and who I was and getting back to enjoying, bodybuilding again. I think I lost that for a long time because I would say back when I started competing, I had a good childlike passion for bodybuilding. And I think once my name started to get super well known and I started winning, and I became, something big on social media, quote unquote, I would say I forgot who I was. I forgot why I was even doing what I love in the first place. And I got wrapped up in social media. I got wrapped up in trying to be, I think, something that I wasn't, instead of just being me. And that's something I've been working on. And as of, I would say, honestly, a few months ago, I'm starting to feel that way again. So I just, those are, even with that though, like those are thoughts I don't want to think about. Like, 'cause sometimes I feel like when you think about making changes or like things you want to do, it applies pressure. And sometimes I feel like when pressure is applied, which I think pressure is great, but in certain situations, I feel like when you apply too much pressure on yourself to make a change, to go back to what you were, because that's when you were happy, you become more miserable trying to get there. Just, I think it's just something you don't want to think about. You know the changes you have to make to get there, and just go through every day, do what you need to do, and not think about it. And I think in time, you'll just see yourself becoming, happier again. As far as physically, like for this, like what I have envisioned for like even for this Olympia, I want to bring the Arnold conditioning that I had with my Olympia of 2022 fullness, with a bigger, thicker, detailed back, a more filled out chest, and more quad sweep to my legs, and present a tighter core, which I think all those are happening, and I think I'm achieving all that right now. And I think, I will be number one this year when I do that. I'm assuming you watched that show on Netflix, The Wide Receiver, or The Receiver. You watched that?
I didn't watch it, but I see it.
But that's where it's from. Well, because I just started watching that. I'm gonna have to practice. I'm too white for that, bro. I'll be honest. My white, and I'm jacked. It don't look right. But I'll do it for you. I gotta practice it though.
Okay.
How many likes? 100,000. 100,000, and I'll make a separate video of me doing the gritty. Gritty, gritty, gritty. So let's see. Okay, so this is, I have received a lot of advice, but I'm gonna go with one that, again, this is gonna go back to a previous question that was asked. And I don't even think it was advice to me. It was advice that was made in a video to me or for me, and it was in a video when I was with Raw, when we filmed this whole documentary thing when I did the New York Pro for the first one I did, and the cameraman asked Matt, said, "What's one piece of advice you would give to Nick?" And he said, "Stay true to yourself. Stay true to who you are." And I picked that because I failed that. After that New York, I was fine. But once we started prep for the Arnold and then Olympia, that's when I became not true to myself. I lost myself in the social media world. I wanted to stay, I guess, relevant. I wanted to be something I wasn't. And that ruined me, to be honest. It kind of ruined who I was physically, not physically, but mentally. It ruined a lot of relationships that I had, because I got caught up in a fake world. I got caught up in what social media is and not what real life is. So I became not who I was. I stopped being me for the longest time. And I don't want to say I burned any bridges at that time, but I definitely had people take a step back from me, for sure. And that hurt a lot, But I think I've grown from it. I think I've matured greatly from all of it. And I just think when you do certain things, you just have to take a step back yourself. You have to be a man. You have to own your shit. You have to take accountability. And most people respect that. And that's what I did. You know, I took accountability for a lot of my actions and I owned a lot of it. And now moving forward, you know, I don't think out of emotion. I don't think out of, you know, or make quick decisions, so to speak. You know, if something goes down that I'm not, that I don't agree with anymore, I don't think emotionally. I don't act out. I take time to really think about what I want to say or what my next move will be. And again, that's just coming back to staying true to who I am because that's what I was. And I never used to just act out of emotion. I never, and then I hated that I let a social media platform kind of dictate the way I live. I think that's the saddest thing anybody could do. And personally, I'm embarrassed and ashamed of that because, again, it fucked me up a lot. So now I just look at social media as a platform to let people in on my life and just who I am. And that's it. I don't want to pretend to be anybody I'm not. If you like me, great. If you don't, I don't give a fuck. And that's my life moving forward. I'm not here to really please anyone. I know who I am. And if, like I said, if you like me, great. But one thing I have learned is you cannot please everyone and you can't go through life trying to please everyone because that's going to make you miserable. Straight up, it'll make you miserable. The only people you need to worry about in your life are the ones that are in your small circle and that ride and die for you no matter what. And everything else is it's just stuff that you put out. And that's just the way I look at it now. You know, I love everyone that follows me. I love everyone that supports me. I'm appreciative of everyone that's a fan of, you know, Nick Walker, the Mutant. And those things like humble me. And I, you know, like what brings me down a notch too as well. When I go to events, right, like the Arnold or even the Olympia, and I see like a line for me, it puts a lot of things in perspective because it's like that's to them meeting me and you know that's inspiring, that's motivating, right? But for me, seeing that line and hearing people's stories, where they came from, you know, the success that they made and all that other stuff, that inspires and motivates me more than anything. And it puts a lot of things in perspective again. And now that, like I said, I'm back to, you know, really just being me again and just having fun. It's like I love this shit all over again, you know. And I just feel like when you are true to who you are, everything kind of just falls into place. So, family is probably number one for me. Till this day, I FaceTime my mother once a day, every day. The timing doesn't matter. It could be later in the day, it could be you know in the morning, but I FaceTime my mother at least once a day. My father never gets enough credit where credit's due because my mother's like me. She's a very loud mouth. She likes to kind of be in the center of everything, and that's kind of where I got it from. But my father is also one of the most supportive in the world. Because I think he embraces it more, to be honest. He's just more chilled and laid back than my mother is. But the fact that, you know, I think, you know, he used to compete, you know, low key, it resonates with him a lot. You know, and he sees a kid do something he used to do and made a career out of it. So my father isn't the most expressive, but when he does, it's a big deal when my father decides to express himself. And I think that means more than anything. Like, for example, when I won my first Arnold Classic, I posed to his favorite song, which was Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne. And I don't know, I gotta find the video, but the expression, the excitement, him singing to it, like the whole thing. I haven't seen my father that excited, and I couldn't tell you how long in my entire life. Like he's had moments, but that was a very specific moment for me that I will never forget. And winning just, obviously just was the icing on the cake for that. And my mother, obviously, me and my mother are pretty much twins in the sense of personality. And yeah, we do kind of look alike. But she's an all-in type of individual. She's very hard-headed, but very caring, very loving, very supportive. And I think, as close as we are, I don't think I butt heads with anyone more than my own mother. My mother's the type of person where, like, we could literally fight for like an hour, like going at each other's fucking throats. I'm not even kidding. And then 10 minutes later, we're like laughing about something that doesn't even matter. And I think that's why we are so good. Me and my mother are so good together, because we know we can fight, we can argue, and then it is what it is. At the end of the day, I'm big on family, because you have one family. You have one father, you have one mother. I have a brother who I love very greatly. He's also been very, very supportive. He's like my father. I'm like my mother. He's like my father. He lays low in the background, but he's phenomenal. But my mother and father have never missed a single show, since I started. And believe it or not, my mother was very skeptical of me even bodybuilding. Not because of exactly, obviously, what goes into all of this, as far as, what you have to do and stuff. But she didn't think I could, not that I couldn't, but she didn't think it was a high percentage that I would make a career out of this. And that actually motivated me more to prove her wrong. And I think when she saw me winning, having fun, really embracing it, and getting up in the ranks little by little, she did become extremely supportive at that point. Not that she ever wasn't. She was just on the offense, we'll say. But when I started really winning, and she saw the progression, she saw the dedication, she saw the consistency, and she saw how serious I really was about it, she became really, really serious about it. So my own mother did her own research on bodybuilding. She knows who everybody is at this point. She was the one that took all of my progress morning pictures in the infamous basements that I used to send to, whoever my coach was at the time. She now critiques my physique and tries to tell me how to pose. She lets me know if there's any shit talking going on, or if anyone's talking shit on me on social media before I know. And listen, I'll be honest, and this is just coming from the heart. As annoying as that shit gets sometimes, no, it does. When I'm chilling, like, the last thing I care about is who's talking shit on me. I'm like, Mom, get off the fucking internet. Like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I sometimes I just let it go, because I know how lucky I am to even have a mom and a father that are that much involved. And that's, because I have a lot of friends. I know a lot of people that their parents just don't even support bodybuilding, or just support whatever it is that they're doing. So when I see how much involvement they have, and how much fun they actually have being involved, how much they actually sacrifice for me to even get to the level that I'm at, which was a lot. I don't want to say that applies pressure on me, because it does, but my end goal is to be able to take care of myself, and then in that process, be able to take care of them. Because one thing my mother taught me is you can't take care of somebody else if you can't take care of yourself. So I would never risk myself for, to take care of somebody else. So when I'm good, the people that have been there for me since day one are going to be good too. And that's just going to be my mother and father first, And as far as holding accountability, yes, like I said again, going back to my mother and father. But my mother is also a realist. She will always be proud of me, even when I lose. And when I said that, I think that really, it bothered me more than anything because I understand, my mom was proud of me, not, because I gave my heart for every prep, when I lost. I did everything I could, so she's proud of me. No matter what, she's proud of me. That's a mom's job, to be proud of it. She knew I didn't fuck around, slack off, but the end goal was to win, and for me, there's nothing to be proud of. I'm a winner. I've always been a winner, and that's if I, that's something I would teach anybody. If you lose, yeah, sure, you gave it all, but you failed. Now you got to come back better. But I think why that hits when I lose, it hits hard for me even more, is because obviously, financially, they sacrificed a lot for me to compete. You know how much bodybuilding really is. Those that know, it ain't some cheap shit. Like it's a lot of time and it's a lot of money. So when I know how much they're sacrificing, and then the end goal, I don't come out on top, it's it usually just takes a piece out of me every time. Um, and I actually said this before, but when I did North Americans in 2020, I didn't say this to my mom or anything, but I said to myself, if I don't win or turn pro at this show, I said I was going to be done because I can't keep doing shows, having my family keep putting out money, 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 and nothing's really coming about it at this point. And at that time, I was like 24 years old. So I said, if I don't turn pro, I'm done. Luckily, I turned pro, and that's when things really started to, change for me. And that was actually when I moved to Florida initially. And when I told my mother I was doing that, she cried. She cried in tears of joy, but also tears of, I'm gonna miss the shit out of you. Like, holy shit. But one thing my mother has always been, even for my brother, and my father. I keep forgetting my father and my father. They've always just been proud. Win or lose, whether we fail, as long as we gave 100% and they know it, they were always proud. But for me and who I was, I couldn't accept that, and even now I hold myself accountable. If I fuck up, I fuck up, I own my mistakes, and I learn from it and fix it. I think one thing that I've learned throughout the years is you don't ever lose. You only lose if you continue to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. I like to look at a loss, quote unquote, as a lesson learned. You learn from it, you fix it, and you change it. If you never change it and it keeps happening, then it becomes a loss. So you're an idiot. You keep letting it happen. So I just look at it as you either win or you learn. And that's just the way I go through life now. Having that mindset has helped me a lot because, yeah, sometimes the lessons I have learned haven't been the best lessons, but they were lessons that I needed to be taught. And I think it's led me to who I am today, which is why I go through life with not really any regrets because I like who I am, I like who I'm becoming, and I like where my life is going. And that's because of everything that has happened years and years and years and years, prior. And it's just led me to who I am. I mean, it doesn't really bother me, It did when I was younger because I didn't understand why people were such a-holes and why I was getting criticism that I got. But I've learned that people only criticize the best. They will only criticize the ones that are doing good. And I took that and I said, if you don't have people that don't like you, or if you don't have people that aren't criticizing you and being harsh, you're not doing something right. And I just learned to just take everything with a grain of salt. Like, there's nothing really at this point anybody can say to me now that I haven't heard already, to be honest. So I really don't care. And I actually like when people, like, for example, for the Olympia, when they go over their top 5 predictions, and some people have me 4th or 5th when I've been as high as 3rd, or they don't even have me in their top 5. I don't get upset. I like that shit. I like when people count me out, and people should know that's a driver for me. It's not something that will make me sensitive. I'm like, oh my God, they counted me out. No, I love it. I love it. Keep doing it, because, and that's why I continue to always even post progress pictures as much as I do, because people will criticize those. Oh, Nick this, Nick that. I don't Photoshop my shit. I don't, whatever it's called, I don't brighten the lights. I don't, whatever they do on that shit. I don't know. There's no, what you see is what you get. And the people that, fix up their pictures, it'll tell the true story on stage. And that's why I always look better on stage than I do in pictures, because that's what matters anyway, not what you post on Instagram, So nothing really bothers me. If anything, it motivates me, and I love it. I enjoy it. I think the hardest mental part about a prep is not getting in your own head. Because I think the closer you get to a show, you're obviously in a deficit so long amongst other things, your head goes like this, meaning like you start to think like, could I have done this better? Can I do this a little better? Should I change this? Should I do that? Should I do this? Should I do? And it's like, chill. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. Listen to your coach and stay focused. And even me, I'll be like, I have trouble with that sometimes. I have days where, I'm all like, I'm a little all over the place. And I've gotten way better at it. But, like, you just have to learn, like, it's okay. Having moments of, or a breakdown per se, it's okay to have those. If anything, I think it's healthy to sometimes have a breakdown, because you're letting all that bottled up emotion, you're letting it all out now. That's healthy. It's like taking a weight off your shoulder, right? Like, so don't feel like you can't have those moments, because you can. Just don't have them so frequent, because now you're just being dramatic. What I mean? But like, once in a while, like, yeah, dude, like, if you need to cry or something, like, cry. If you need to, like, just scream, fucking scream. It's cool. Just don't, like I said, don't make a habit out of it. Like, keep it in control. But I think those things are okay. But, like, the most important advice I could probably give on that aspect is just listen to whoever's in charge, your coach. The closer you get to a show, that's when people kind of want to butt in, give everyone's opinion. And as cool as that is, because everyone wants to see you do good, but if you got a couple other people saying something different from what your coach is telling you, now that fucks with you. And you're like, oh, well, should I do this? Or, should I do that? Listen, just listen to one person, take everyone's opinion, say thank you, or whatever the case is, and roll with it. And if you want to take something up with your coach, say, hey, some guy at the gym said this. What do you think about this? That's fine. But, like, don't let it, question whatever it is that you're doing. Your coach is your coach for a reason. You hired him for a reason. You trust him for a reason. So that's who you rock with for the entire time. And I think once you have those all in check, I think you'll be fine. We got the Celsius Cosmic Vibe here. That's a good one. Well, that's the name of the style, but this is Sparkling Fruit Punch. That's a good one. Again, I'm a soda guy, so I love their cola flavor. It's probably my favorite of all time. So currently, right now, I get my haircut done by Prestige Barber here at the Royal Athletic Gym, my man Kev. Big shout out to my man Kev. So if you are ever in the Stewart, Port St. Lucie, Jensen Beach, all those areas, hit up my man Kev. He kills it.